Hey, good morning. You can hear all the lovely cars in the background. Anyways, I was doing my devotions this morning and really loved the story and wanted to share a little bit more about my story with you all. So hopefully you can hear me. And yeah, there's my car, but I'm not in it. Anyways, so the video will be more of me, but a little rougher because I'm actually holding it. So anyways, my story today was it was talking about the prodigal son and the lost sheep, and that really just hits home for me, because like I've said in a couple other videos, and if you haven't watched any, I grew up in the church, and then just through a series of events, which I'll get to that story eventually, I ended up not going to mainstream churches, and kind of just living a life of like, let me say it this way, I chose to live for things and not for God. Still calling myself a Christian, but that's what I chose to do. And really, and that was for many, many years. And I wanted things and desires that I felt like God put in my heart, but I took it into my own hands and it basically got it myself. So anyway, so the story about the prodigal son really, really hits home for me, because it wasn't more of like, oh, give me my inheritance, I'm running off, but more the lost sheep. Like, I wandered away and I just didn't know that I did. And again, like I said, I would still pray. I still believed in God. I was a good person. I did, generosity things and things like that. But I was really living for myself and not really living for God. Like, I was living for oh my gosh, I'm making like a decent income now, or I get to be in a family and help take care of them, or I'm helping someone, so I'm doing a great thing. And it truly, did affect my soul, to the point I got to one day that I was just like, really, I've gained it, like, it all. And I didn't really. I wasn't even like I was still low in making money, but I thought that was the most money I've ever made. So to me, I was, bringing it in. Anyways, like, I didn't even have a 6-figure income and I was happy. Anyways, so I got all the things I wanted and I was like empty, and really, just was like, wow, I really, gained it all and have nothing. And so through a conversation I had and some prayer and stuff like that, which I had tons of people praying for me that I didn't even know were praying for me. So I'm thankful for that. And if you see this and you are one of those people, thank you. Anyways, through this situation, one day I just decided to pray to God and ask for forgiveness for basically getting where I was. And I really feel like but what I love about the why the sheep, like the lost sheep, is because I feel like God went with me. Like, he was there listening, he was there sending people. There's a beautiful butterfly over there. He was following me, and I don't even know exactly how to describe it. Anyways, so one day I leaned down and I just looked up and I was like, you put man, like for me, I put a man, but I put man before God. I wanted that situation in that life, and I did whatever I needed to do to get there. So anyways, so that's part of my story, and then I repented and started reading my Bible again, started praying more, and then I worked my way home, and God helped with that as well, and significantly aligned everything up, and I got connected with the church online until I moved home, because I was in Missouri and now I live in Florida. So just got connected, and but in that process, like, God sent people to talk to me and everything like that. But also in the son, like, talking about the prodigal son, one of the parts that hits me in the story that's really sad for my story is while I was gone. So, like, yeah, I was making a lot of money, but there was a time period where I wasn't. And that's how my like income would go. It would go up. I would be making like a decent living, and then I would like have nothing, like literally have nothing. Like there was a point in my story where we were struggling financially, and part of it was I was in a controlling relationship, and so I wasn't the person who was deciding where all the money went. It was like a group effort, and so basically part of that situation was food was last. Like you pay this bill, that bill, you know, even if you go do something, all of that, but the money for food was last, and even the money for food was ridiculously low. And eventually I did kind of start making that, like, that got fixed. But in the situation where it wasn't, we were low on funds, so food was like, you don't get food. Like, that's just how it worked in that situation. And so there was one time we went to visit a friend who had a garden, and they had a whole bunch of like scraps of their garden stuff for their chickens, because it was a farm. And I mean, there was like, I don't even like tomatoes, and there was like holes in the tomatoes, and I looked down at that and I wanted it so bad. And every time I hear the story of the prodigal son where he looks at that pig's food and wants that pig's food so bad, he didn't get it, neither did I. Like, we didn't eat the like scraps, sorry. We didn't eat the scraps. I just put that in quotations if you're just hearing this. He didn't eat the scraps. He just wanted them, and that's what made him go home. And I really think we get to that point where, and I mean, you don't have to hit the bottom, which I've always heard that for like drug addicts or alcohol, you know, people addicted to alcohol or different things like that. And I think that when you're just in a wrong place, that those moments of longing for basic necessities is those moments where God is like talking to you, and that you can remember that He's the Father, He's the provider, and that He will provide that. And even now, like, I've been home for about 2 years. I'm working in my 3rd year, and at the very beginning when I moved back, that it was an auto thing to like, oh, I'm getting on my feet, I don't have money, okay, then I don't eat, and then people are checking on me, and I actually have an autoimmune things that are wrong with my body from not eating. And I'm not like I went like weeks without eating. It was just very poor, like rice and beans, but mostly rice with spices. Trying to think what else. Literally skipping meals. Like, because if you didn't pack me for lunch, then you didn't have money to have lunch. So it was stuff like that. And I mean, and God has gotten me, like, I'm now, like, I know God is my provider, and I have meals every day, and I've had people give me food and everything like that. And but I think there's those moments where that hasn't happened enough for you to look up and say, okay, you're my provider. I'm not doing it. Like, I'm not the person that's supposed to do that. Anyways, that is the story for today. I'm going to keep it short and post this, and then stay tuned, because I will, as I think of things, I'm going to post it, and then maybe one day, I'm eventually going to work on a book, so maybe one day it'll connect all together. So anyways, but yeah, that's a piece of my story. God's our provider. Focus on Him. Look to Him. And if you haven't, read the prodigal son and the shepherd, and the lost sheep. It's in Luke. It's Luke 15. Go read it. Enjoy it. Talk to y'all later.